Oh, sorry. We get to her, and then I'll go to you next.
Back to education and the vouchers, how much did you say has been appropriated for vouchers?
51
It
million.
was approximately 50 million, though. I think that last I heard that a lot of it had not been dispersed, and that's run by the state treasurer. So I'm not exactly sure why there's hesitancy on how much they're dispersing. So that's. Yeah.
Would you explain how that voucher system is going to work? How is it set up to work?
So the vouchers.
Yes.
So
Yes, and aren't they using public funds? They may not be education funds, but they're public funds, right?
Public funds are used for education in a variety of ways. Whether for a particular child that's public school, or that's attending a private school or homeschool. You're homeschooling, you are still paying in the property tax system that's funding the schools, funding activities at the schools, but you're also taking on the additional burden of time and financial resources to provide what you feel is the best educational opportunity for your children. So the voucher system just offers a little support towards that. I'm not against public schools at all. I want every child to get the best education that's the best fit for them. I think that we have, I just met with every superintendent in Cascade and Franklin County and had a breakfast about a week ago. I think that same week I met with Osage superintendent and here in Osage County. I'm very engaged with the superintendents. But that doesn't mean like if every child has different needs, and not every child is going to thrive in a public school environment. And for those that don't, having the ability to have an alternative, I don't want to defund public schools, but I want every kid to be able to have the options to have the best fit. It's going to provide them the opportunity to learn the style that's best for them and provide the best future for them.
But that's using public funds to a private school, is that right?
Well, I wouldn't go directly to a private school,
But that's what it's set up for, isn't it?
Well-
That people can do that?
I look at it in terms of they're paying the tax dollars to fund the public school. They're not using the public school. We can't just reimburse the fund. So, it's a way of them being able to retain some of the tax dollars that they're paying in that they're not utilizing for their child because they feel that another school's a better fit. Does that make more sense?
No, it doesn't. Because the public school is probably going to offer a whole lot more than the private schools.
In many cases, yes.
And so, no, it doesn't make sense. And everybody is paying into public education because we want an educated public to run the country for the future.
And everybody is welcome in the public schools,
Right.
especially those with disabilities. And let's face it, that's going to cost more.
Yeah. And what do you say to the student that, the only option is inner city school that is failing greatly, that more than half the students graduate high school, they can't read at adequate level, and they're stuck in that school by their zip code. They deserve.
Fix the school.
Will they
We've
be allowed
tried
in a
sending more
private
money,
school?
and it's not helped.
Probably.
Because private schools can say who comes and who goes.
That's right, they won't accept it.
They don't have to educate kids, and they have different regulations. They don't have regulations to follow like the public school.
Have you visited a charter school in
I went
San
to
Luis?
a private school when I was younger, and my kids go to public school, and I've got kids that have disabilities, IEPs. I know how the system works. And if the funding is taken away, those services, my son is 25, he's autistic. He would not be anywhere he is today if he didn't have those services. He works, he drives, he lives on his own, he has friends, he has a girlfriend, all things the doctor said he was never able to do. And because of the supports he got in school, he was able to grow and thrive, and now he's a contributing member to society.
That's fantastic.
And that's how important public education is to
Yeah.
a lot of people.
That's example, because that was the right
But the
fit for
private
him.
schools would never take him or my other kids who are dyslexic. They don't have to teach them, they don't have to educate them. Many of the schools around here, they tell the kids, leave. We don't want them, we can't deal with them, and they get forced into the public schools.
But 50 $50 million wasn't taken away from public schools to fund that program.
300 million was.
That they're wanting to do with Department of Education on a federal level, that's gonna impact it.
I don't think you wanna look at the budget, like, you'll feel a little nauseous afterwards, but there's a lot of places to take
In the
it
private
from.
schools, a majority of the people that are receiving the vouchers can already afford to send their kids to the private school.
Yeah, I've seen statistics thus
I'm
far.
not saying all of it, and then the
In
problem
some
with
cases.
homeschooling is, there are parents that are concerned, there are people that actually move here because nobody oversees. There are kids getting abused in homeschool, and there's no oversight, so that's another concern with homeschool that you may wanna look into, because nobody's going in there and.
There are no mandated reporters if the person doing the mandating is also the one doing the
True. I
beating.
mean, you look at statistics from the Department of Education, and homeschool students, on average, test higher across the board, score higher on ACT, SAT. There are going to be anomalies. There are going to be situations. Unfortunately, there's abuse in the home and things like that. That happens. Like, there are public school students that go home and nobody realizes what's going on at home, and that's a horrible thing. And I filed a bill that would allow.
But if I had my child went to school with a bruise on them, I would be reported by the administration.
Perhaps, yes.
Who's going to report the kid that's being homeschooled that gets abused?
I filed a bill that at least allows them to participate in sports and extracurricular activities, so there is more integration. I think that gives an opportunity to, play.
Oh, great, I can play soccer.
Sports activities, and I thought that was good for a number of reasons. One, you're more engaged with the local schools. You're obviously not going to vote in any tax levy supporting the school if you're not utilizing it at all. Your tax dollars are still funding those programs. And I think that might be well-intentioned homeschoolers that, maybe they think they're doing right by their child, but their child is falling behind, but they don't have interaction with public school counterparts to know that. So this bill would allow them, maybe they go to a football practice, and Jimmy and Joey are talking about, like, we're learning calculus today, and, Joey goes home like, Mom, Jimmy is still needs to calculus. Why are we not learning this? I'm just giving an example of a random subject. But I have filed bills that I've been able to get passed that do allow more integration to hopefully prevent situations like that.
But do you also have something, because the public school kids have to have certain grade point averages, certain attendance, certain behavior in order to play sports. So what are these homeschool kids, are they gonna have the same requirements that the kids at public schools in order to play sports?
Pertaining to that activity, yes. So like any obviously you can't miss practices, things like that. They're not gonna.
Practice is nothing.
It's the attendance, the grade point average, the behaviors.
Yeah, I mean,
What are they
that's
being
the
tested
whole,
on?
that's the purpose of that, is to hold schools accountable to ensure that the child's receiving the best possible education. That's the end goal. So if they're not allowed to play sports at all, we have no idea what's going on. This at least gives them a chance.
But who's holding the parents accountable if they're homeschooling their kids?
It's none of our business. It's none of your business. It's not your child.
But you're letting them participate in the public school.
Their tax dollars are paying for
I
it.
understand. I'm trying to explain though that those kids are held to a higher standard because you have to have a certain GPA, you have to have a certain attendance, you have to have all these things to qualify to play a sport. Where the homeschool kids, you're saying it doesn't matter what their grades are, it doesn't matter if they have behavior issues, that they can just join.
Who's to say the homeschool parent doesn't have a higher standard than the public school does?
I didn't say that. We did. I'm asking, but I feel like you're saying that homeschooling is a better option than public school.
No, I'm not. I'm saying
And
for
I'm
some
just trying
kids
to
it might
make
be.
this that there's kids that have to be held to a higher standard, and I feel like the homeschool kids are not.
So,
The rules should, in my opinion, should be equal across the board.
so I understand that, and
I'm
I
not
think.
saying they can't go play.
Yeah, I get it. I get your point. And I think back to high school, star football player, star soccer player, and I remember them failing every test. Yet they would end up with just the right grade to maintain on the team. So I understand what you're saying, but that's not how it always works in real life. Unfortunately, there are schools out there that if you are the star of the team, you're gonna pass no matter what. And that's not every school. That happened in my school. I can speak to that. And yeah, there are going to be situations to where that happens in public school or homeschool. We can't fix everything. all we can do is provide people with the best options, and, you know, there has to be personal responsibility involved. And, you know, hopefully that helps explain. I totally get where you're coming from.
I was just saying that there is concern about the homeschool, and there's issues in Missouri because they're not regulated.
Yes, I personally know one of my classmates that graduated because his mom just pushed him through and said he did good, but he's not right.
And that, you know, that's not gonna work out well for him in the real world. And
No,
there are
he
kids
might join the
that don't do
legislature.
very well in public school that aren't gonna do very well in the real world, so it goes both ways. I have to get to him since he's been waiting for a while. What time is it?
6:05.
So we gotta wrap up.
The school issue, I think every parent